Hey, it's Jerad with Ditch Auto, and I wanted to talk about Sony's kind of pro level collection here. The Sony A7R II and the three G Master lenses that they've recently released. Now, I just finished a video that's kind of a 1-year recap of my thoughts and experiences with the A7R II. This camera is a little over a year old now. It's been about a year and a month since I first received this camera, and so if you're interested in that, I talk about its photo performance, its video performance, and then some thoughts on just where this camera is at in the whole photography ecosystem. And so if you're interested, check out the card or the link in the description below on this so that you can take part in that discussion with me. But Sony has been building out their Pro line, or what I would consider their Pro line in their mirrorless alpha camera series. And that would include what you see here. And finally, I received the 7200 and now have the kind of the complete set here, along with my A7R II. And these pro level lenses are more online with what I was used to shooting with when I was a Canon shooter. When I was a Canon shooter, I had the Canon 5D Mark III, I had a 7200 2.8, I had an 85mm fast prime, and I had a 2470 2.8. And I had the latest versions. It was the second version of both of these lenses in Canon that I had. And that was like my dream team. Those lenses and that camera accomplished everything for me, both photo and video. And when I switched over to Sony, we didn't have this. We had a 7200 with an f4, we had a 2470 with an f4, and I survived on those. They were good lenses. You know, the Sony is better in low light performance, and so it was still a good fit for me. But it didn't really come full circle until I was able to get my hands on these lenses and spend some time with them. So these G Master lenses, these are top notch. Sony has been touting them as next level technology that is beyond what is even capable right now. And as a person who shoots, as a photographer who shoots a lot of video and a lot of photos throughout the year, I can attest to the quality of these lenses and how much better performers they are in comparison to the lenses that were out, like the Planar series lenses that are out currently. And Sony has a lot of different lenses, and it's kind of a challenging area to even kind of figure out, like, okay, well, where does that lens fit in the whole scheme of things? You know, we've got 50mm kind of nifty 50 lens that Sony came out with. It's a couple $100. And then more recently, a 50mm lens that is quite a bit more, close to $1,500. And so there's a lot that Sony's been coming out with. They're filling in all of the gaps for all of us photographers out there that want something at any of the different levels that are available with most of the other camera manufacturers. So this Sony A7R II is still a top contender, and like I said, I talk about it in that video, but this camera it has better specs than some of the cameras that are coming out now. It performs excellent, and I've paired it with the battery grip, and then I also have a M-Plate Pro from Custom SLR because it helps balance the camera when I have it on a camera strap, and also allows the camera to actually sit upright when I have a lens on it. So the Sony A7R II has, this is my main camera. This is the camera that really never leaves my side. I shoot studio with it. I shoot on location with it. I shoot weddings. I shoot corporate events, conferences, all sorts of things. This has been my go-to camera. The only time that I've wavered from this camera is when we're shooting only video, and I need other cameras for my other camera operators. Will go to the A7S II because those cameras only need to perform video features, and they're excellent at that. This camera here is top of the line photography, top of the line video. It performs excellent all the way around. And pair it with these lenses, you have a pro level package that you can go and shoot pretty much anything with. So let's talk about performance with some of these lenses and different ways that you would use them. Autofocus is huge for all of us. Obviously, that's one of the specs that is always changing with cameras year to year, not only with Sony, but with Canon and Nikon and all the others. It's how many AF points, phase detection, all this stuff. How does that all play into it? And not only is the camera a factor there, but the lenses that you connect to it. Obviously, buying a camera that has extremely good autofocus and connecting a cheap lens to it, you're going to suffer in your autofocus. Sure, it might actually work well, but how quick the autofocus is and everything is going to change. With these lenses, these are electronic lenses. There's very little mechanical about these lenses. The only thing that's mechanical in these two zoom lenses is the zoom function. In both of these lenses, they do zoom mechanically. But as far as focusing goes, even when you go manual and you're manually focusing with the ring, it is an electronic process. And a lot of lenses these days are electronic like that, but many of them still are mechanical. And the difference there is that was a big problem with Sony lenses and a lot of other lenses, is that electronic process created lag. So you'd start to focus and it would take a second for the motor inside of the lens to actually perform the focusing movement that you were expecting. So you start to focus and then the lens moves later, and it's hard for for my brain at least to have that lag. It just doesn't feel natural. I might be trying to rack focus on something while shooting video and I end up missing it because of the lag that was involved with some of those lenses. These lenses here I can't even measure it myself, trying to figure out if there's any lag. Like when I move, the lens moves just like that. I mean, nothing changes. It completely, it's immediate. And I'm sure there is some measurable lag in there, but it is not measurable by my eye or internally in the camera or anything like that. It is extremely fast. And that's been the case with all three of these lenses. And Sony's getting better at that. There's a lot of electronic features going on inside of these lenses, and all of those are happening really quickly. As a person who shoots both photo and video, I've appreciated having a manual aperture ring on this lens specifically. These other two lenses don't have that. They have a few other features, but the 85 here has a manual aperture ring, which is really cool because then you're actually able to adjust, like just smoothly adjust your aperture as opposed to stepping your aperture. Like imagine when you're shooting video or even just looking through your camera and you adjust your aperture, you could tell your camera is stopping up or stopping down. You can see a step in the actual exposure happening. But when you have a manual aperture ring like this, you can slowly feather it, and you can turn click off and you could slowly feather your aperture. It's a really nice feature to have, and I wish all lenses had it, but nonetheless, these lenses are already pretty heavy as it is. Adding a feature like that would make them only heavier. Another kind of unique feature that I like about this 7200 is how the mount detaches from it. Slides right off, and this is definitely something that is an attention to detail thing that Sony paid attention to, because most other big lenses like this, including the past lenses that Sony has created, require you to detach the entire ring and slide it off the camera in order to get this off completely. This allows you to leave the mount on your tripod, slide the camera right off easily, instead of having a big tripod plate stuck to the bottom of your lens, which has been one of my biggest pet peeves forever, is when you're using a heavier lens, tripod plate on the bottom, you're always walking around with a tripod plate here, and it's just obnoxious. I like being able to slide that on and off. It's been an excellent additional feature. So there are little things like that Sony's put into these lenses, just little attention to details, alongside extremely well-performing lenses. Now, looking at this is not a cheap setup. This is a pretty expensive setup to have here. And it's not an amateur level setup. Like, you wouldn't need to have this to be, even a professional photographer. But if you want the leading edge technology that's out there right now, this is the leading edge technology. This 70-200, my experiences with it so far have been that it is just a joy to use, and it's It meets or exceeds what I experienced with the Canon lens that I had last. However, I do feel that there are some details about this lens that are better, such as the removable foot here. Also, we have, and I talk about this in an unboxing and initial thoughts video that I did here, but we have autofocus locks here, which is just an excellent feature. And then just the construction and the build and the feel of this lens, the size of the lens. I mean, everything has just been just a joy to use. And now the lens line lives up to meet and exceed what I used to use when I was a Canon shooter. So in this package here, I don't want to get extremely into detail, into specs and talking about all the little minor details. I just know that a lot of you are looking at these products and thinking to yourself, you know, do I need them? Do I have to go there? And the real answer is that you don't. I didn't go there until this year when these lenses came out, and I was grabbing amazing photos and video without them. However, what these have allowed me to do is have more precise focus, have better quality images from center to edge, and just have a better all-over performing lens system from the get-go, where my other lenses, you know, all of them were slightly different in different ways. Majority of them were Sony, but some of them didn't perform well in manual focus. Some of them didn't perform well and had softer edges on the outer sides. It went in photos, and some of them had high apertures, like an f4 maximum aperture, versus, you know, some of these lenses that get much wider. Yes, they're expensive. No, you don't need them, but I wanted to be here and talk about them and start a discussion underneath this video. So this is what I consider right now to be Sony's Pro package. If you were to toss all of your Nikon or all your Canon stuff and switch over to Sony as a pro shooter, if you shot sports, if you were, you know, if you had a professional studio, or you really just needed top-notch gear because of the type of work that you're doing, this is the package that you should invest in right here. And I have the links in the description below so you can easily see all of these products. But I have a feeling if you're watching this video, you've probably already looked at some of these things at one point and have a good idea. You just wanted somebody's opinion on them. And all I can say is that they are great and they're the best that's out there right now. And all of the camera manufacturers are trying to keep up. Canon and Nikon do great, and I'm not here to knock them and say that Canon and Nikon can't perform on this level. It's just you have amazing glass here that is better than Nikon in my opinion, and just as good, if not better, depending on what's important to you, than Canon glass. And then you have a camera here that outperforms even what Canon has just recently announced. This camera being a year old, who knows what Sony will come out with later this year when they kind of get caught up from some of the setbacks that they had recently. But I wanted to come out here and just talk about the quality of this equipment and this package as an entirety, and just kind of share my thoughts on it. So if you have questions, whether they are questions or complaints or critiques about my thoughts, please leave them in the comment section below. I do my best to get back to every reasonable response that we receive in the comment section on YouTube. So thanks so much for checking out this video. There are also some other videos for you to check out, so make sure to subscribe to our channel, and you'll also get notified of future videos that we put out as well. Thanks again, and we hope to see you soon here on Ditch Auto.